Today we're working on my girlfriend's S13 once again. We are currently doing some fab work, doing the intercooler piping. And my friend Grubby has given me a call. He's ready to do the half cage on this thing. So we're loading it on the trailer and we're heading down to 21 Fab to get the half cage done. As you can see, I was right in the midst of doing the cooler piping. So I've got the trailer ready to go. We've got some cashola and now we are on the move. Alrighty, we're back. Well, Grubby's over here doing some dodgy stuff to his S14. Let's have a look at some of the work he's done on Kalani's S13. The first problem we have is you try to shut the door, it doesn't shut. The goddamn, he made a mistake. No, joking. The cage is all done. So he has just tack welded it in pretty much so that we can take the car home, pull the cage out. Well, I'm gonna weld it myself and then I'm gonna paint it up and make it all pretty. I wanna give a massive shout out to Grubby. He's down here in South Melbourne. And if you guys need any fab work, make sure you hit him up because he does some incredible work. He was also kind enough to let me use his welder and do some final welds on the cooler piping. We're gonna head home now, pull this cage out and start welding. Alright, we're back. It's a beautiful day. We've gotten the car back from Grubby's now, and we've got some etch primer and some color. We're about to do some painting. So I've got my beautiful little stand over here. We're gonna prime this thing up and then start laying some color while the weather is still absolutely beautiful. Maybe I can't even tell I'm in frame because I got, oh, cool. Should be right, that'll be fine. Exactly. I've had to stop painting because I have found a small mistake I have made and it is quite a stupid one. I don't know if you can see that. It's a weld I've missed on the comp cover. We'll be back in a second after I re-weld this little part. Alright, we are done the turbo housing and there has been some sort of reaction and if someone can tell me why, I think the base coat may have been a bit too wet when I started laying the clear coat. As you can see, it looks so bad, but it is not my turbo, it's not my car, I don't care. Now our comp cover is painted, we have our next job on the list. And the previous owner, when they put this motor together, they forgot to put two major bolts in, which tie the oil pump into the head. If you look down, you can see there's like a chemi-weld type putty where the head gasket goes. And my homeboy, Spencer, who's just back from Canada, has had some bolts for me, waiting. And it's these two 10mm bolts. The problem is though, we've got to pull the cam cover off and we also have to pull the cams out, which means we've got to time the engine, pull the timing chain off, pull the cams out, just put these two bolts in. That's our next plan. We're gonna pull the cam cover off, clean that up, paint that as well, and hopefully get these bolts in and fix our oil leak. I am worried that when they put the chemi weld on it, it's leaking into the gap, and when I bolt it down, it's not gonna actually crush and seal it. So fingers crossed, just putting these two bolts in works. Otherwise, we're gonna pull the head off, clean it up, and I don't wanna do that. So let's get into it. Now we got the fan shroud off, you can actually see how bad this job is. So those two bolts there, that's where it's leaking oil. I'm not gonna deny and say that I've never done anything like this, but yeah. I'm gonna wire wheel it back now and clean it up just to see if I can get a bit more of an idea of what is actually going on. Alrighty, unfortunately now the clouds have come, so we've had to pull in our cam cover back inside, and I've done the base coat, basically just waiting for it to get dry now, maybe get a bit more sun and we can lay some clear on it. But I think we're not going to do that until we've got the cage done. We're going to start marking out the interior so we can cut out the door cards and the plastic trims to fit a full street trim with the half cage. So as you can see right there, we've got a bit of a door's not shutting. Same with this side here, as far as it goes. So I've got the seat out. I'm gonna basically mark the door card. I was hoping Kalani would do that, but she's too busy to be working on her own car. So I'll do it. Got everything back together on the motor. Basically let it all dry. I've got the 2 bolts in. Got some silicone on the outside. Once the cam cover's all painted, we can chuck it on, start it up. Fingers crossed there's no oil leak. See what happens. So Kalani has made the executive decision. We are not gonna run rear door cards because it's gonna be too hard. It's gonna have to be cut up way too much. And if she ever pulls the cage out to just drive on the street or whatever, it's gonna have cut up door cards. So the rear door cards are just getting left off and the front door cards will be getting trimmed. I think it obviously looks bad, but if we just paint that black, the inner trim, you won't notice, which I'm not gonna do. It's still a functioning door card and it's, yeah. Is what it is. Alrighty, so now we've got the door cards all cut up. We can actually pull the cage out and start welding, finally. I'm pretty happy with how this door card sits. And this door card is basically the exact same. I will have to do a tiny bit more trimming, but it's very, very minor. But at least now we can pull it out, start welding, and start prepping it for paint. See you guys tomorrow when we start doing that. Of the base coat done on the cage, and I have the cam cover here again, and I'm going to re-clear coat this one because it didn't turn out the greatest. I don't know if you can see that. It's something weird happened with the paint, but it just needs a bit more clear on it, so we're going to give that another coat, and we're giving the cage all a fresh coat of clear, and it should hopefully turn out pretty good. I had someone comment on the last video saying, I can't believe you're painting underneath of the XY, and it's only a Ford. But no, this thing is getting restored eventually. It's been up here for like 5 years, but it will eventually be getting restored, so don't worry about the Ford on the hoist. This car is also getting a respray, so I'm not gonna bother covering that up, but we are just clear coating. I'm not gonna bore you with mixed up paint, so I'll see you guys when it is done. And I am blurry. How long was that blurry for? God damn it. Far out. So I've just finished painting all night. We're all done now. and I wish I clear coated the turbo housing and the rocker cover because it has turned out so much bloody better. I'm a bit upset with how good it looks. That just looks glossy. It looks really friggin' good, man. Considering most people's cages are just rattle canned black. This is obviously rattle canned, like the pink, but it's been properly cleared over. And I'm quite annoyed because now the cam covers doesn't look as good as the cage. So I might actually, if Kalani wants to, I'm gonna make her sand this, and we'll have to get another can of paint because we're out of paint, and I'll repaint this one and clear it properly just so it does look that little bit nicer. We will be back tomorrow, but it's already it's midnight now, it's Monday, and oh my God, if I spend as much time as I have on this car as I did to my E36 on my S14, they'd be so much better cars, and the E36 probably be finished. But I'm just a really good boyfriend, so it doesn't matter, I'm rambling. See you guys tomorrow. We'll start slapping this cage in, get this video finished up. Motor is all back together. Fingers crossed those 2 bolts we put in work, and that little bit of silicone does the job. And I just can't help but think of how good this thing looks. I know it's just a rocker cover and a turbo housing, and of course the fresh core piping I've done, but it makes the engine bay just look that much nicer, and everything else sort of lets it down. Sort of, how far do you go? Kalani wants to pull the engine out and respray all the engine bay and all that stuff, but she's not here doing it. I'm doing it, and I do not want to do that. So try to do what we can while we're sort of doing things. I had to pull the cam cover off to do those 2 bolts, so like I'll paint it. I had to weld the comp cover, so I'll paint it. But the cage is in. It's not fully bolted in just yet. I'm waiting for the bottom base plates to dry. Just because they were raw steel plates, I wanted to paint them before bolting up to the car. But basically the cage is where it sits now. It's all the joints are tight and stuff, and all the bolts are through the floor. Massive thank you to Grubby from 21 Fab. He absolutely killed it with the cage, and he was kind enough to let me weld it myself. It's what you want for a roll cage. It's super tight, everything. Look at that. It's right out there to the pillar. If you do need any fab work, please hit Grubby up. He's one of my best mates, and he does amazing work. So link in the description, go show him some love. Pretty much, I'm gonna fire this thing up, run it for a little bit, make sure it hasn't got that oil leak. That's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed a little montage of me welding, painting, seeing Grubby do his thing. We have an event coming up in 1 month. It's a drift event in South Australia, and I was hoping to get this car done and tested before that. There's an event like a week before that. I wanted to see if we could go down and do a few laps to make sure it's all good. But it's looking unlikely. It'll be its first test at Malala, which is an awesome track in South Australia. So many things to do. Got to do injectors, fuel rail, fuel pump, bunch of little bit of wiring stuff. Still need to get like an alignment. Still need to build the SpeedTech gear set. She has also gotten a close ratio dog engagement gear set. I've got to build that in the SR20 gearbox. So I'm pretty nervous I've never built a gearbox. So fingers crossed, look out for that video. And there's just a few more things I want to do, like tidying up wise. Like, I hate the way that cooler piping looks. So if I have time, I'm gonna remake the cooler piping. I want to relocate the battery. I've got to make a new exhaust, and I'm actually gonna get Klein to do some welding on that. I'm gonna try get her to do the scrammer pipe, and maybe even get her to make up the AN lines, because I have to make up new AN lines with the new manifold that I built. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out. I tried something a bit out of my comfort zone and built a custom manifold, and it turned out really cool. I was pretty happy with it. So enough talking. I am the best boyfriend, I do know that. So make sure you go tell Kalani that in the comments, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next video. Peace.